We've got Chuck Mallett of Mallett Performance Cars. Now, Chuck, this is crazy.
You may not have heard of him if you're a truck guy. You've certainly heard of him if you're a GM, like a Cadillac V-Series or a Corvette guy, because he's got a long history in tuning the GM product.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say that he's dabbling in Lamborghinis now, but he is. We'll get to that. Okay, but let's talk about the Colorado and the Canyon thing.
Yeah.
Let's just say he can bolt on, in just a couple of hours, bolt on an extra 100 horsepower.
Or more.
Or more.
A lot more.
Or more.
To your Colorado.
Okay, we're going to get to that.
Just saying.
We're going to get to that.
All right.
Holman, Truck Show Podcast, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you, Dad?
We're fantastic. Before we can talk to you, we've got an intro. Do you prefer punk rock or country?
Punk rock.
Punk rock. Oh, you're going to be sorry.
Innovator, Moderator, Truck Show. Innovator, Moderator, Truck Show. Innovator, Moderator, Truck Show. Innovator, Moderator, Truck Show. Truck Show. Truck Show. Truck Show. Man, that hurts my throat.
See, because I guess it's a little more death metal than it is punk rock.
Yeah, that's a little bit more death metal.
Yeah, exactly. So, but you are an innovator moderator, the innovator moderator. So we got Chuck Mallett on the phone, Mallett Performance Cars.
So Mallett Cars has been around since 1997. So Chuck is no stranger to the performance aftermarket, and probably know him from a million TV shows and magazine reviews of his Mallett Performance Cars. And now you guys are getting into trucks and doing some pretty crazy stuff with the Colorado.
Yeah, the guys from GM came to me and asked me if I'd do a little help them on their trucks. So we've, picked up a Colorado and wanted to do a supercharger, and nobody made it, so we actually make our own.
That's too simple of a story.
Okay.
I feel like so where do you know, how do you know where to start? What type of supercharger do you choose? Your intercooling, et cetera?
We've been supercharging Corvettes and Cadillacs and for GM for 25 years. So we figured, we knew what we needed for airflow, and we knew what we needed for air charge for temperature. So the only way to get to that was to oversize the supercharger and try and keep our intake temps way down. So that's how we make so much power with it.
When I was looking at the email where you first reached out to me and you had seen the long-term report on our ZR2 Colorado and four-wheeler, and going through some of the notes you sent me, you've got your kit for the 3.6-liter V6, which, by the way, is no slouch, stock, especially with that new 8-speed transmission. It's a pretty nice setup, but you guys add a 1900 Eaton TVS rotor with a custom pulley assembly, water tank, high-efficiency intercooler, and heat exchanger with an 8-rib belt, and you crank performance up to 361 horsepower at the wheels, 332 pound-feet of torque, and according to CARB, which you found during the emissions testing and certification test, you add about 4 miles per gallon in efficiency.
Bonus?
Yeah. We found actually it was an average, and it just depends how you drove the truck. The direct injection loves the boost. So once you put 88 degrees of air temp into the intake manifold and start putting it under 9-10 psi, that 3.6 comes alive.
And that 3.6 is stout enough for 9 or 10 pounds of boost?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's amazing.
It'll actually take more than that. We've ran it up to 12, 14 pounds of boost and made a lot of power. And then on my own personal Colorado, I'm right at 700 at the wheel.
Oh my Lord!
Yeah,
wow.
So the stuff will stay together. You just got to manage the ECM, and you got to manage the traction control, and you just got to make sure that it doesn't bang between the gears and knock the teeth off the pinion. And
well, you said that you've installed over 100 kits since 2016, with some of your customers putting over 50,000 miles on the trucks.
Yeah, these guys are using them up. I mean, guys are going off road with them. They're using, they're doing not rock climbing, but using their trucks, like they're supposed to, like they were designed for.
It's pretty amazing. I was also reading your note that you guys had taken your shop ZR2 with the blower, full exhaust, and then bigger, wheels and tires and a roll cage. Yep. Entered it in the Best in the Desert Blue Water Resort, Parker 425. Went out and hung out with the big guys out there.
I don't know if you've seen any of my stuff, but most of my stuff is show car perfect, shiny, inside, outside, upside down, perfect. So this was the first thing for me to go off road and get my dirty. So it was something totally different. And I took a brand new ZR2, I mean, brand new. It had 170 miles on it. Gutted it, caged it, put the Best in the Desert has a radio equipment that we had to install in it. And Richard Winchester, who used to be part of BFG.
I know him.
Richard sent me some BFG, some Kevlar 275s and 285s, some big tall tires on it. And so we, believe it or not, we actually dropped the truck about half inch and cut the fender wells up to keep the tire from scrubbing on everything. So.
Yeah, I've had a chance to race in the Colorado platform with the Halls, and Chad Hall's campaigning his ZR2, and so I know just how capable those trucks are in relatively stock form for that kind of environment.
Rod was actually, him and one of the guys from General Motors went out with me and when we did the pre-run, and so I followed them and we ran for that 8 hours. I was amazed. I mean, we were going through 12 inches of silt at 65 mile an hour without even, the truck didn't even wince. So it was something.
Now, Chuck, why supercharger instead of turbo? I know you're a supercharger guy.
No, we do everything. We build twin turbo Corvettes and Cadillacs, but the turbos just take so much effort and so much time to spool up, and it really doesn't work on an off-road application. Because you're trying to build boost, you're trying to get the thing to go, and you're waiting, and
I mean that has a lot to do with the makeup of the turbo, right? The size of the turbo. You're going to go
and altitude and fueling and all that.
Exactly. Yeah, everything. But at the once you start, when you put a turbo, turbos make good power at the top, but when you need grunt, when you need to pull it from the bottom up, there's nothing like a screw supercharger. I mean, it compresses the air instantly at idle. We're making a pound of boost. You're not even, on a turbo piece, you have to get the thing to at least 12 to 1700 RPM before it even starts to make a boost. So, and we're already making boost, at idle basically.
You are battling a little bit of heat, and you're making your own heat exchangers, correct?
Yes. Yep.
And then what's your strategy for keeping the transmissions happy? And obviously we talked about not chipping ring and pinion teeth. So what's the way to keep those things alive with so much boost?
Well, we spent a ton of time on ECM. My background with GM racing and, doing all the 24-hour races and dealing with all the production and release engineers for General Motors for 35 years. We went to them and said, hey, we're going to do something here. We're going to try and keep this thing together. And they're like, oh, that's easy. We can do this and this. And basically we do it with the Cal. We just put a little bit more delay in it. We take a little bit of timing out between gears. What
has the truck market been for you? Was this your first performance truck, or did you dabble with them in the past? And how has it brought notoriety to the Mallett brand?
Well, in 2015 or 2014, I built a Silverado that won the GM Design Award. That was a 427 cubic inch LT1 with a 3-liter supercharger on it.
Oh my gosh. 3-liter supercharger.
So that was I made it look like a C10. I made it look like a, 72 C10. So we made our own moldings and two-tone painted it and all that. It kind of kicked the truck thing off, and then I just saw how much response we got from it. And then, while we were at SEMA, Dr. Jamie Myers said, hey, we got this Colorado coming out. We really want you to take a look at this thing. So I ended up running out and bought one, and then we started supercharging it. And then I've always been a road race guy. So my first truck we built, I put a 4 9-inch under it and long length suspension, and had Pancho Weaver from Weaver Trans Am car. Pancho's my neighbor. So we went through and put kind of like a pseudo Trans Am chassis under my Colorado.
Nice.
Masima from Brembo put big brakes on the truck. So we made a road race version of it. And then once we started doing the supercharged part of it, then all the off-road guys started coming to me and saying, hey, we're going to,
I bet.
We need some power. We're putting big, tall tires on these trucks, and we're losing a lot of energy. And so I said, okay, well, we can actually, because we took our supercharger, our 1900, and we were, I was spinning it with a 2.7 pulley on it. So I was put 20 pounds of boost in it. So we went, we backed it off and put a, 4.5-inch pulley on our 15/16s, made right at 9 pounds, 9.5 pounds of boost. And it just, the direct injection just really came alive. It really made a lot of torque.
So do you think you'll be doing more truck stuff based on the response to the Colorado?
Yeah, we do one every week, and we sell a supercharger kit almost every day.
That sounds like a pretty good business.
At $7,200. I mean, I was looking at the price, and it's not bad because for $7,200 at 100 horsepower increase, it's only $72 a horsepower. I mean, that sounds like a bargain.
Yep. And then if you put the 4-inch pulley on it at $129, it gives you another 20. So you're at 130 at the wheel. So it's a ton, man.
Any other mods? If I'm bringing this to you, and by the way, it's a DIY kit, right? I can do it in my garage.
Yes.
But I also, if I don't even know how to turn a light bulb, I can.
But is it reversible if I want to return my lease at the end of it?
Yes.
Even better.
Yeah, you could take, just as long as you keep all your parts, put them all back on. It's actually, you have to send me the ECM and we'll flash it back to stock and run it.
So how are you getting access into the ECM? Because I know one of the biggest challenges for a lot of manufacturers in the aftermarket who are doing the aftermarket kits is that many of the OEs have, these incredibly, these encryption levels are so high now.
Yep.
Is that just based on your years of experience with Chevy?
I think EFI Live you're still getting in as well, right? Under the Colorado?
No, we don't use EFI Live.
Okay.
I have software that we've put together. It works really well, and it works in conjunction with GM stuff. So it's not like it's locked out. The dealers aren't locked out. They can actually plug into the truck. It has our fingerprint in it. So once they plug into it, the dealer can actually go in there and put their stock stuff back in it, and it doesn't affect our cal, believe it or not.
Oh,
wow.
Good to know.
No kidding. But will at some point, will you be locked out like a lot of other tuners? At some point, will you be calling Motec or somebody for an ECU?
No, I'd never do that.
Okay.
Yeah, the Motec stuff's really, really good. But it really doesn't work with OEM stuff because you got to have the body controller, you got to have everything. So the whole truck talks to itself.
Yeah, now it's all
and the CAN stuff.
Yeah.
So you basically have to do what
network.
HP tuners did with the L5P, which is you'd have to go in, take the CPU off the board, put your own on, and then so you can talk to it.
Yes.
Yeah, correct. And that's really just the way of the future.
That's what everybody's going to have to do eventually.
Yeah, I was looking at what comes with your kit, and we were talking 361 rear wheel horsepower, 332 pound-feet of torque, fully complete bolt-on, do-it-yourself, a Eaton TVS 1900 rotor, genuine GM tensioner and steel idlers, high-efficiency intercooler and heat exchanger, CNC machine pulley assemblies, hard coat anodized, which is very cool, fleet quality 8-rib gate supercharger belt, which is actually a very high quality, very, very good belt, high-strength corrosion-resistant fasteners, 2-gallon custom aluminum high-volume reservoir, carb EO number. So people out here on the left coast can have fun in their Colorados as well.
Yep.
There's 17 other states that adhere to those rules.
Too. Performance tune and a detailed, fully illustrated color manual. So for your money, you're actually getting a great level of products, but also very quality components for the kit.
Yeah, that was our main goal, was to make this thing as nice as we can make it. So all like everything is super detailed. All the anodizing. Fluidyne makes our intercooler, and it's a NASCAR core, so it's the highest efficiency core you could buy that's on the market. I mean, our air temp's at 88 degrees.
It's amazing.
No matter what, I'm talking on the desert, running in the Parker 425 pre-run, I was at 88 degrees on my intake temp, and it was 100 degrees out.
Well, and people don't realize that, in the desert, that matters because as you get dust and things caked into your heat exchanger or your intercooler, that efficiency is going to save you from having rising intake temps and taking that power away or getting to a point of detonation.
Or going to limp home mode.
Yeah, absolutely. So it looks like you have really thought out this kit, and I'm looking at some of the pictures, and the engineering and the way it fits under the hood is actually, it looks like it was meant to be.
The fact that I'm looking at some of the add-ons, so if I'm going to Chuck, I'm spending the $7,200, but I'm not stopping there. Yeah. I'm going for the catback exhaust.
Our exhaust.
Because it's 304 stainless.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yep. But it's also, did you see, it's also built as a merge collector. So we don't run like the production stuff is a 90-degree bend or a 90-degree exhaust flow against their own flow. So it's actually really, really, necks that whole thing down.
Super restrictive, right?
And also the right side bank cat runs almost 15 degrees hotter because of that. So we actually bring our cat temps down, like once you're on at full throttle and stuff like that. With our merge collector, it actually brought the cat temp down by 20 degrees.
Which is pretty significant.
That is significant.
Yes.
Right?
I was just going to say, I was looking at the website, and I see a drop-down menu for Lamborghini. I got to ask you about that. I know we're truck guys, but we're also gearheads, and so I have to know more about this.
I'm putting together a 2650 right now. I'm building a complete kit for the Huracan and the R8.
Look at the picture of the engine that is out of the car on mallettcars.com. Holy crap.
So our 3D printed stuff will be here tomorrow. Intake manifold. I'm going to be the first guys to actually have a carbon intake. So I'm having full carbon intake. There's not going to be any metal on it. I'm trying to, because that big chunk of iron or aluminum really generates a ton of heat.
No, I can imagine, especially mid-engine.
So I'm trying to isolate it. So I'm doing intake manifold base out of G10. I'm doing 4x4 carbon 12 weave on the carbon intake. So I'm flipping the supercharger upside down, and I'm running like a tulip, like out of the supercharger down back around to the 10 cylinders.
You know what? The only thing that I have G10 on? The handles of my pocket knife. That thing looks incredible.
Well, so it's interesting that you've been doing this for a long time, but there are other companies that are in the space. Now, most of them are turbos, right? I think it's Underground.
Correct.
They're doing turbos, and then
they're down the street from me.
Yeah, okay.
They're right down the street from me.
And are they throwing rocks at your window, or are they going, get out of our market?
Yeah, no, not yet. Not yet. Wait till I come. Those guys won't even know what hit them.
Is this a SEMA project?
No.
Okay, I was wondering if we would see it in a couple months. Okay.
No.
Okay.
It's just, I have full-time engineer and myself. We're flat out every day and night trying to get this thing together.
But that sounds like a passion project. That's just like what? We've done it all, and we're gonna do it just to show people we can do even more.
Well, he's got two Huracans in the shop, right? Is one Mercia? Okay.
One's a Performante and the other one's a 480-2. So
because the Performante wasn't enough. Right.
Yeah. Well, that'll be the second car we supercharge. As a matter of fact, I've got buddies that own the driving school down at Road Atlanta.
Oh man!
And they got a Performante, so they're like, "We're number 2. We're next. We're next."
I bet.
So,
are these yours or these customer cars?
These are customers' cars.
Very cool.
It's amazing that you'd buy this car at, I don't know what they run, 283 something, 500. I don't know what a Huracan runs.
You can get them anywhere from like 187 to 260.
Oh, I'm in.
Yeah. So, but then they don't even drive it. They take it straight to Chuck and they're like, it needs to go faster. Like, you didn't even put 30 miles on the thing yet.
That's the craziest thing. These guys want this thing, and this customer is not like my Colorado customer. The Colorado customer, they do a lot of research. They're very cautious, and these Lamborghini guys are like, let's send me I'll send it out to you. Can I have it Friday?
Wow. Okay, so speaking of supercar or mid-engine car, we would be remiss if we didn't ask you. We had a debate here over the C8 quote unquote Corvette, and obviously the new mid-engine car. And for me, my personal opinion is it could have been called anything but Corvette. I know Zorov, I know the story. I know GM's been teasing a mid-engine Corvette for forever.
Yeah, many years, right?
But I feel like it's a hell of a value for a mid-engine car, and they hit it out of the park for the chassis and the platform and all that. But to me, it's just not a Corvette, and it doesn't have that distinctive Corvette feel. I feel like there's a little bit of Ferrari in there. There's a little bit of
a little bit of NSX in there.
A little bit.
Well, what they went upscale. They just, the Corvette guys. Everybody every year. I do a ton of research and a ton of development for the Corvette platform, and I have since like '83. So
you have a storied history with the Corvette platform.
Yes, I've done 35, 24-hour races for Corvette. Yeah. So the customers what they were asking for is they were asking for something a little upscale.
Yeah.
And that's why GM built it.
I guess from my standpoint is with Viper going away, that front engine rear wheel drive is truly American. And I felt like they went chasing the Europeans when nobody, in my opinion, was asking for that. It was a question nobody asked necessarily.
Yeah.
And I feel like we've walked away from the true 2-seat front engine rear wheel drive American, supercar driving experience.
They did, but what they were looking for is the engineers and all the chiefs, of Corvette, they were looking for the next performance level.
Yeah.
They wanted to go to the next level.
I don't know. ZR1 was pretty damn high. I mean, what you're going to get?
It's pretty stout. I know.
Yeah.
I've got guys that send me ZR1s and we go through them. We step on a ZR1.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Well, how much more can you get out of a ZR1?
You can make another 150, 200 if you want.
At what point can you just not get any traction?
Depends on what gear you're in.
Yeah, well, at least in a ZR1 you can still get a stick, right? You can't in the new Corvette because the engine tunnel and the fly-by-wire. But I don't know. I guess for all of the hype for it and all of the waiting and anticipation, I was a little less than impressed with the styling because it just didn't scream Corvette. It just looks like so many different vehicles in one.
I can't talk bad about it. I'm a traditionalist. I like the old school stuff. And the new car is beautiful.
Yeah, I get it. It just doesn't feel.
But it really isn't a Corvette.
Right.
I know that.
Yeah.
But to get to the level of performance that the guys were looking for, like the new ZR1 that's coming, the C8 CR1 is going to be badass.
Well, you'll be chasing that Hurricane around with that car,
right?
Oh, you know it.
I will say from a build quality standpoint, the Lamborghinis and Audis are really good. You look at the Ferrari.
A lot better than they used to be.
Yeah, it looks like Mario welded it half drunk on on Saturday or something. Man, it's just.
Yeah, I know.
First time we saw a Ferrari on the lift, I was like, what the hell is this crap? You look at a Lamborghini and they're all really, really well. You tell
really
robots
nice.
did it.
They're really nice stuff. That's why I kind of gravitated to them because they're just such a cool piece.
I have a question for you, Chuck. So a lot of the guys that are bringing you these exotics, they pull them to tracks and whatnot, and they're pulling them oftentimes with a diesel. Is there anything on the horizon from Mallett for diesel performance?
No. I don't. It's too big, too dirty, too stinky.
Or how about the new 6.6 gas platform?
And I drive a Duramax. And I have a brand new Duramax. So
how dare you say that?
I'm just telling you but for our shop and for big, massive engines, and I'm just not a diesel guy.
That's fair enough. But how about the new 6.6 gas engine? Is there hope for the heavy duty guys that you're going to play with that,
or the Ford 7.3 with a 10-speed?
No, GM only.
Okay,
that's all I do is the GM stuff and Lamborghini, and then I've got a couple other guys with exotics that have been in my neighborhood are beating on my door here. So
I feel like a 3-liter supercharger on top of that new 6.6 gas engine in the new Chevy Heavy Duties would be pretty badass.
Exactly.
Can we call you and have you back on the show when you get that engine all put together?
When we finish it up.
Hey, where can we go, Holman? Where can we go to try one of these supercharged Colorados out? Have you driven one?
I have not.
How can we get some seat time?
Fly to North Carolina?
If it's only 15 minutes.
You could either do that, or if I have a customer out west, you can jump in and drive one. Or I'm waiting for Maxim Tire right now. They wanted to use my black Colorado for SEMA, my desert truck. So if it goes out there, you guys are welcome to take it and drive it.
Yeah, I think Maxim is out here, aren't they? They're in Southern California, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we would love to have an opportunity to take a test drive and make sure we get some recordings of that sweet supercharger wine.
Does it? And how does it sound? Because you're using the Eaton. How does that one sound?
Well, we run that big 8-rib belt, and we run the really tight tolerances on that stuff. So, and I'm running a ZR1 style belt tensioner.
Okay,
so it quiets it all down. It has a little whine to it, but it's not like the old school whine of a 671 or an 871.
So what's louder, the supercharger or the rear tires lacking traction?
Depends how big the tires are.
Now I've been racing in a ZR2. And so I know that experience. And then you saw the long-term test where we had the little diesel version that I took my co-host Lightning out to the desert, and we did a show on it. And I think I scared him a few times and took him, as fast as you can go in a stock truck safely.
I wasn't scared. No, I mean, you didn't lose control or anything.
No,
but
not at all.
I was absolutely stunned how great that suspension was, bone stock. Yeah. Stunned.
The shocks work really good on that truck.
Yeah.
I'm a Penske guy, and we do development work for Penske shocks.
Yeah.
So I'm a chassis guy. On my last shop, I had a 7-post shaker in it. So I did all track maps for most of the cup stuff. So I'm a chassis guy by trade. And that ZR2, I'm telling you, that shock setup works really, really well.
Especially for only having about 9 inches of travel. Like
I know
it's
that.
amazing the spool valves on those Multimatics, the DSSV, how much energy they dissipate in such a short amount of stroke. To me, that the two things, and it's funny, you can drive a traditional shim style shock, and you can drive the spool valve shock, and there's a very significant difference in feel. And the spool valve almost feels like there's a hydraulic bump stop on the suspension or in the truck. It's amazing.
I actually have Penske's on my street truck.
Okay.
And not my ZR2. I left the production shocks on my ZR2.
Yeah.
Our Penske shock setup actually was a little harsher than the ball valve.
That's amazing.
We dynoed them. I mean, I've got the Penske guys that are actually literally a half a mile away from my shop. We're on the shock dyno just testing the stuff.
If you got a 2015 or newer Colorado, Canyon, or ZR2, you got to bring
Bison.
Or Bison.
Or Bison, yeah.
Oh, my God. It blows my mind. Oh, my God. Bring a Bison.
We just finished a 2020 Bison.
I'm cleaning my. You couldn't hear, but I was wiping the drool from my jaw. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I just want to drive a Colorado. I mean, and like I said, the 3.6, I believe stock is 301 horsepower, something like that.
Yep. At the crank, it's we've seen as high as 216 at the wheel and as low as 201 at the wheel.
Ooh, that's a little
big variance.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess it depends on mileage and then how broken it is.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit of mileage and the trucks themselves. How can I say this nicely? There is a difference.
Yeah, there's a tolerance difference. I guess there's
a tolerance difference, and the trucks that we've been dynoing. I've done probably 30 trucks we dyno just testing different products because I'm coming out with a stage 3 also. I'm going to have a little more power.
And what is that going to include?
Just as a pulley and a belt. That supercharger will put enough wind to put 500 at the wheel on that truck.
Too bad the diff probably won't last. That's a good way to spit out your lockers.
Right, exactly. Well, the diff, the trans.
Everything downstream.
But if you manage it right, if you manage it to where the truck, you say, okay, well, above 45 mile per hour or 32 mile an hour or whatever it is while we're rolling, we can start, turning the cams in a little deeper and start putting a little more timing in it. And
aren't variable valves just amazing? Like from a tuning standpoint, that's got to be one of the I don't know, the biggest advances in engine tuning is when variable valve timing came out because you don't do camshafts anymore. I mean, that's just unbelievable. I would imagine, Chuck, that you probably are familiar with your local constable.
No one calls them constables, right?
Oh, that's right.
Highway patrol. State trooper.
We've been caught a lot.
So I have a story for you that I think you'll appreciate. So Lightning and I were in our ZR2, and we were heading up Highway 395 out here in the California desert in the Mojave. And we were doing about 80 and just heading out to our trail in the desert where I was going to take it.
Not crazy fast, but we were like
fast enough.
There weren't that many cars on the road.
We were like 15 over,
and we're in a bright red truck.
Yeah, we're in the Colorado, and in front of us a car starts slowing down, and we're looking, and we're like, oh crap, it's a CHP, and we're gaining on him, and he's got his rear radar on. Yeah. So true story. Right before our turnoff, he pulls off the highway because he's going to let us pass him
and then catch us.
Well, it just so happened that our turnoff into the desert, just turn off the highway,
70 feet in front of his car.
70 feet in front of his car. We literally did not slow down at all, made a right turn, blew off into the desert, and as we were going down, behind us in the dust.
Did you guys drop the window and wave as you're going by?
We might have shouted and high-fived, and he right after we passed him, he rolled up that 70 feet, so he was like center line with the trail, the road we pulled off, and we watch him watch us go off into the desert. and he just pulls back on the highway.
Gave up.
Oh, that's cool.
Just gave up, drove away dejected.
Yep.
It's like one for the good guys.
All right, well, you guys go salivate on their on his website. So it's Mallett Performance Cars, and you can find it at
MallettCars.com.
MallettCars.com. Yep. And if you've got one of those aforementioned Colorados or Canyons, you got to hit them up if you've got some discretionary income.
And Chuck, we'd love to have you back on anytime to talk about either that 6.6 project or your Stage 3 on the Colorado.
I'll stay in touch.
Okay.
And I hope to see you guys out at SEMA.
Oh yeah, we'll be there all week.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks, man.
All right.
Fantastic.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye bye.